One wrong step, one unexpected twist of fate, and their dream of reaching the summit of Cerro Torre turned into a nightmare. On Thursday, January 27th, two teams of climbers summited Cerro Torre together after completing two new parallel routes of the Patagonian Tower. But while they were descending, an avalanche injured Tomas Roy Aguilo and killed 41-year-old Corrado or Korra Pesce. The treacherous slopes of Cerro Torre claimed another victim. Or did they? Watch this video to discover the incredible true story of resilience and courage. Any ascent of Cerro Torre is to be celebrated, but first ascents are very few and far between. That too occurred simultaneously is almost unbelievable. Both are massive 4,000-foot routes that ascend sheer granite, snow, and ice, starting on the east face and finishing on the north face, ranking among Patagonia's most difficult alpine walls. They thought they had prepared for every possible scenario, but they were wrong. What happened on the day of the climb will leave you speechless. The two teams, one comprised of Corrado or Korra Pesce of Italy and Tomas or Tommy Aguilo of Argentina, and the other of three Italians, David Bacci, Matteo della Bordella, and Matteo Giga de Giacomo, had climbed within 200 feet of each other for several days. The friends joined forces for roughly the final 1,000 feet of the mountain, where the two routes merged, with Pesce in the lead. They all summited within 30 minutes of each other that evening. As Bordella described on alpinist.com, this is not only a great dream, but it is certainly the most beautiful, important, and difficult route we have ever traveled in our lives. Opening these routes for Korra, as it was for me, was a reason to live. But these incredible triumphs were immediately followed by a tragedy that shocked and saddened climbers all over the world. Shortly after congratulating one another, Pesce and Aguilo began rappelling the north face. The sub-freezing nighttime temperatures, they reasoned, would offer some safety from rockfall and icefall while they descended. The other team would bivouac on the summit and rappel the southeast ridge the following day. While Pesce and Aguilo rappelled in the dark, however, a massive chunk of ice and rock broke loose from above, battering the climbers. Pesce was gravely injured and unable to move. Aguilo was hurt but mobile. Most of their gear had been swept away, including their satellite communication device. It's hard to imagine a more exposed and frightening position. Aguilo's only reasonable option was to stabilize Pesce and continue down alone, albeit with zero margins for error. Encumbered by injuries, a punctured lung, broken clavicle and ribs, among others, and the little gear he had left, the descent proved painfully slow. By that evening, roughly 24 hours after they had summited, 1,000 feet of rappelling remained to reach the glacier. By then, Bordella, Bacci, and Giacomo, extremely fatigued from their climb and 30 rappels, had reached the base of the wall and were horrified to learn of the accident. A rescue party had been scrambled and were already en route to the face, where Bordella used his drone to pinpoint Aguilo's location. Then, in an almost superhuman effort, he led the rescue party back up 7 pitches of difficult and dangerous terrain to reach Aguilo before an incoming storm. While others helped Aguilo descend, Bordella and Roger Shelley, a Swiss alpinist, stayed on the wall through cold and wind in hopes of finding Pesce. He began hallucinating from exhaustion, and with no sign of Pesce, they knew they must go down. We understand that Korra will remain forever on that mountain. In all, more than 40 people were involved in the rescue. It was the most impressive team effort I have ever witnessed, wrote Skelly on Instagram. Corrado Pesce's rescue operation ended on January 29th, after a drone spotted his lifeless body in the snow. An avalanche on Cerro Torre had badly injured both Pesce and his partner, Tomas Aguilo. Aguilo managed to descend and was rescued, but Pesce's injuries were so bad that he couldn't move. When the weather closed in and prevented a helicopter from accessing that difficult spot, it sealed his fate. Earlier, Carolina Cotto of the El Chalten Rescue Center said that a group of Pesce's friends planned to come to El Chalten to help recover his body. Today, climber-photographer Renan Ozturk confirmed on Facebook that Jonathan Griffith, a climber and close friend of Pesce's, will attempt to recover his body during a short window later this week. Earlier attempts failed despite a huge community effort because of the infamous Patagonia weather and the difficult location of the deceased climber. Corrado Korra Pesce was one of the most sincere, pure, and humble mountaineers of all. He didn't just complete huge climbs without making any fuss whatsoever. He was also happy for and motivated by the successes of others. He was loved and respected by everyone. While Pesce's resume is why the world took notice, it was the quality of his friendships and his enduring nature, his kindness, curiosity, compassion, and drive that will be mourned and missed.